Channeled message.
They did not have proof. They had imagination, resentment, and an audience willing to entertain both. So instead of making direct accusations, they hid behind hypotheticals. What if this really happened? What if the relationship was never what it looked like? What if they are lying about their life? What if there is something nobody knows? Hypotheticals. That language gave them cover. They could place an accusation into a room without taking ownership of it. Once the suspicion was planted, somebody else could repeat it, embellish it, and eventually speak about it as though something had actually been established. Psychologically, this is plausible deniability combined with narrative manipulation. The speaker gets to shape perception while keeping enough distance from the accusation to say, I never said that. I never said that was true. Yet, they know exactly where they were directing everyone's attention. The story became useful. It gave people permission to reinterpret everything about you through suspicion. Normal choices suddenly look suspicious. Privacy became secrecy. Boundaries became evidence that you were hiding something. Anything they did not understand could be filled in with whatever version made their treatment of you easier to justify. That was the point. That was the entire point. They needed a version of you that made their own behavior look reasonable. Once enough people accepted that version, the group began validating itself. Nobody needed first-hand knowledge anymore. One person heard something from another person who heard something from the person who originally floated the hypothetical. That is group reinforcement. Repetition starts masquerading as evidence. Eventually, people cannot even tell you where the original claim came from. They only know everybody has heard something. That is how a lie acquires social authority. Then you kept living. You kept showing up, and that became the problem. Your actual life, refused to cooperate with the story. The behavior they predicted did not appear. The collapse they expected never became permanent. The character they described kept failing to show up in the recent conduct. You did not have to chase every person who repeated the story. Reality began making the argument for you. That is where manufactured narratives become expensive to maintain, all based off of hypotheticals. That is where manufactured narratives become expensive to maintain, right? The storyteller has to keep introducing new explanations for why the evidence never arrives. Every contradiction requires another theory. Every person who has a direct experience with you creates the possibility that someone will eventually ask the question nobody wanted to ask. Where did this story actually come from? Once that question enters the room, everything changes. Now people have to trace the information backward. Who originally suggested it? Who kept adding details? Who spoke with certainty about situations they never witnessed? Who seemed unusually invested in making sure everyone reached the same conclusion? The trail often leads directly back to the person with the strongest motive to control the narrative. And this is where projection becomes harder to ignore, all based off of what? Hypotheticals. A person can accuse you of traits they are actively demonstrating themselves. The manipulator becomes obsessed with calling you manipulative. The person hiding information becomes fascinated with whether you are hiding something. The person managing appearances starts insisting your entire life is a performance. The accusation becomes an autobiography with your name attached to it. Hypotheticals. That is why staying grounded mattered. Had you spent your life frantically defending yourself, they could have used that reaction as new material. Instead, people were eventually forced to compare the story with the person standing in front of them. And now The reckoning belongs to everyone who participated. Everyone who participated. Everyone. All of them. The original storyteller has to maintain something reality keeps contradicting. The people who repeated it have to confront how easily they allowed someone else to shape their judgment. And the ones who smiled in your face while entertaining the story behind your back have to live with what revealed their character. They may say they were manipulated, and perhaps they were. Still, they made choices. Because of what? Hypotheticals. They still decided that speculation was enough to treat another human being differently. They still entertained conversations they would have been embarrassed to repeat directly to you. They still help give social weight to claims they could not personally verify. Hypotheticals. Realizing they were used does not erase what they were willing to become while being used. That is why an apology does not automatically restore the relationship. An apology can acknowledge what happened. It cannot erase the information you gained about the person giving it. You learned who could be recruited against you. You learned who preferred entertaining accusation over direct conversation. You learned who allowed somebody else's version of you to outrank their own experience with you. That information alone should change access, if not forever. This is what I would call a Queen of Swords energy in its mature form, right? I don't need cards to read. I can hear, hence these messages, which this energy is dark and icky and I get tired, but I have to put them in a form that makes sense to me and to the people who are listening. But this is, in short, Queen of Swords energy in its mature form, right? So you're not screaming your innocence in every room. You are observing who possesses enough independent judgment to think for themselves. You are allowing people to live with the conclusions they reached and the alliances they formed. Basically, stay on that side. You chose your side. Now, if you want to sit with them or not, that's on you. You do not need to rescue them from embarrassment once the truth starts surfacing. The person who manufactured the story may become increasingly desperate as control slips, right? They may introduce new hypotheticals, revise old claims, or insist that everyone else simply does not know the real you. Yeah, the real you. At that point, pay attention to who requires the lie to become more complicated every time reality contradicts it. Truth does not need that much maintenance. A fabricated narrative does. And eventually the people involved began realizing something uncomfortable. They were never investigating you. They were being managed, right? Someone handed them a conclusion, disguised it as a question, and allowed their own biases to do the rest. Now they have to live with what they said, what they believe, and what they participated in while thinking you would never know. You don't have to punish them. Knowing that you know is his own reckoning. But they built an entire version of you from what if. You kept becoming someone they could not explain away. Eventually, the hypothetical ran out of room and reality took over.
End of message.